Hello and welcome to Lockdown Beers and Rugby Chat here on Friday. Yes, it's the end of the week, folks. So hopefully you are all knocking off on time and grabbing yourself a cold one just to wind down at the end of the working week. A new one for me. I've got New Zealand Lager today. Basically the cheapest one at New World. In a box of 12. So we'll see what that one's like. I'll be cracking that open in 57 seconds. When it is 5 p.m. Don't want to start too early on lockdown when you're at home, are you? Unfortunately, some sad news today we'll be going through. Waka Nathan has unfortunately died after a period of time with dementia. We'll have a look at my rugby predictions for the weekend. We'll have a follow-up on the contact training that World Rugby brought guidelines out about yesterday, and then also the Fijian Drua have made a surprise announcement as to their head coach. So that's all going to be interesting and stuff. We'll be talking about if you're on Twitter, or if you want to head over to Twitter at Driving Mall, you can find the link to join me on screen if you'd like to come and have a chat with me. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts in the comments around any of this kind of stuff. Would love to hear your memories of Waka Nathan, someone who was before my time, unfortunately. So I must admit I can't say too much about it, but clearly a well-respected and much-loved player in the rugby community. Oh, I've gone and missed my lockdown beer. 8 seconds too late. Oh, there we go. Let's crack it open. Got it in my Waikato colours. What do you call it? Chili thing for the can. Answering in the live chat saying, should he join me? And I think the answer to that one clearly is going to be yes, please, because otherwise I'm on my own. So let me just type in there on that one. So hopefully he's going to join us and he'll be able to bring you some comments about Waka Nathan. Unfortunately, I say not someone that I'm particularly aware of, so not something I can talk about to be honest there. On the old contact training, a couple of head coach or a couple of coaches have come out and talked about it. Dave Rennie has come out and just questioned whether it actually is going to achieve the aim that it's supposed to, about whether players will be have enough contact training ahead of games. And you've got to say, actually, it seems to be that's going down the route of what do you call it? Kind of questioning experts. I mean, the list of names that were on the panel is pretty impressive that came up with this one. So clearly on that one you've got to say that Dave Rennie, I think, is not wanting to change his culture of how he trains his players. I think is effectively what that comes down to, even when research says it actually is a good thing. Aaron there deciding what takeaways to order tonight. Well, I'm cooking in, to be honest with you. So, but do let us know what one's on that one. And joining me, jumping in, is Ashwin. How you doing, sir?
Oh, not too bad. And yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all. I've gone for a new beer this time, so it'll be never.
I got no beers because last time I had a tragedy and it was been over my desk. So I thought, and I was rushing. I thought I can't let him do the Celine Dion all by himself, so I better jump on, eh?
So yeah. There we go. I've got the New Zealand Lager. Apparently, it's a quality New Zealand Lager. It's at the top there. At the price, I'm surprised if it is, to be honest with you. Being an old cheap one on that one. Look, great. Thank you for joining us, because Waka Nathan has obviously passed away after a period of dementia. A famous Maori All Black and All Black, someone who never lost with the All Blacks, playing for the All Blacks in a Test match, which is amazing. On that one, passing away, as Joshua says in the live chat at 81. Look, someone say I was way before my time. Someone I don't know anything about. Your memories and thoughts about Waka Nathan?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, sort of on the periphery of my memory, and in fact, when he was playing, I didn't get to see any games, etc., sort of thing. So what I do know is the fact is that events where he spoke, and it's just like listening to him is just, he's just a fascinating a man to listen to with the tales that he told, and just a legend in terms of what you were listening to, also what he achieved outside of rugby as well. So and the coaching side of things too. So I mean, he left a mark in terms of on Auckland rugby and on All Blacks rugby.
Yeah, trailblazer for Maori players as well. From what I've read, as I say, someone I wasn't really a name I kind of heard around, but never really thought about, never really understood why. Never understood the context of it. Josh said he had bad luck with injury on both UK tours, breaking a jaw on one of them. Ouch.
Well, the interesting thing though is that jaw, the tour that he broke the jaw on, he actually carried on playing in the tour.
Wow. They made him different back in those days, didn't they?
They did. I mean, one of the players that he played alongside was Colin Meads, who played with a broken arm. So yeah, it definitely made him different back in the day.
They did, absolutely.
Not a bad segue into contact in the training, I suppose.
Well, yes, exactly. I've already talked about Dave Rennie basically not wanting to change his style and basically was questioning it. These experts, they don't know what they're talking about apparently. He was. But an interesting one, though, and a much more measured response from Tony Brown, which I thought was interesting. He had no problems with the 15 minutes as for team contact training, and he said that would be a reduction on the Highlanders, who he reckoned they did about 20 minutes training a week, which still is a lot lower than a lot of us would have expected, I think. Anyway,
absolutely. I mean, when you look at that, just even looking at the World Rugby's sort of edict that they're looking to bring in, when you look at it, guidelines, it's just like you sort of think, not knowing what a professional training session would look like, you sort of think, wow, what do you mean only 40 minutes of contact? 15 minutes of contact in a training. It's just like, surely you'd have more than 15 minutes of training in a contact. But then actually, obviously through discussion on that, although probably not down to those numbers, there is actually, time of contact training is actually is a monitored and limited event, just not to the number.
They just don't really keep it they do that. Josh says it makes you wonder what full contact session resembles. Well, I guess, look, it basically means people without tackle pads and actually tackling people. So you're allowed a further 40 minutes of tackle pad contact as well. Now, obviously, you'll still be able to run drills where you touch someone with a pad, but it's actually going into them with force is what will be reduced, and then also live scrummaging or live lineouts. People are like, well, how can you do lineout drills then? Well, you can, just don't make them live competed lineouts. You just have them uncontested, and you can still run off the back of that. You just won't be able to do full on mauling, and full on scrums. So that's so I think what some people are like, what, you can only do 40 minutes of lineouts? No, you can do a lot more of that than lineouts, but just not contested lineouts. So I think some people need to just actually read what it says.
You could probably even get because it's in a training environment. If you're only competing for the ball, you can actually probably get away with doing longer with competitive lineouts at training, as long as it's not heavy contact. What you're doing. You're not then. If it's just competition in the air that you're looking at, the accuracy of throwing and catching, then you're not taking someone down, setting them in a maul, and then trying to out-maul each other.
Yeah.
I had to snigger though. I had to snigger. It's because I just realized this is like, coaching under 10s, and we were putting them through about an hour of contact training. They just weren't tackling. And it's just like you put pads in front of them, and they were demons. You took the pads away. Well, actually, this was the weirdest thing. Okay, it was a little bit of a segue, a little bit of a side story, but we had a problem with our kids. My son's team wouldn't tackle on a Saturday morning, and it's like, whoa. So okay, you take the pads away. Okay, now you just learn to tackle each other. You get used to it. Get used to the physical contact of body, taking the impact or giving the impact, and that'll help. And it's just like, so they go hell for leather and they tackle each other hard, and then Saturday morning rolls around and they forget to tackle again. And it's just like, it was really weird. They're happy enough to tackle each other at training and try and tackle each other as hard as they could, but they didn't want to hurt the opposition. That's when we finally asked them, because we tried to ask them, and you asked them why does this happen, because you've got no answers. You got what you've got chalk and cheese from training. Why? What's going on? And in the end, though, I mean, because obviously didn't really want to come out and say it, but they eventually did. One comes out, and the others say, yeah. They didn't want to hurt the opposition. They were worried that the opposition was going to get hurt, so they wouldn't tackle them. Put the big hits in. It's just like, okay, but you do realize they're smashing you because they were getting abs. There was a couple of kids who were absolutely to use Justin Marshall terminology, they were getting absolutely boomfard. It's like, yes, so you're happy to get for the opposition to absolutely snot you, but you don't want to go back and give it back to them. Okay.
Well, there you go. Fun and games. I mean, LB, yeah, you're right. Teams usually only have 1 week of hard training contacts anyway. So I think a lot of this is just perhaps codifying something that's been happening in the sport anyway. And so I mean, a lot of people. I mean, Ian Foster's already said, yeah, he'd have no problem with it at all, and so is Tony Brown. So look, I think a lot. Yes, it'll be maybe a slight change, but I think on the whole, they're not asking for radical change here. This is just so I think they are. It's heading that way. When you think that the NFL back in 2011, so 10 years ago, put in restricted contact training, you got to say that and let's be honest, contact still happens absolutely fine in NFL during games. So I think rugby's a bit slow to the table here. This one.
In saying that, one thing you've got to realize with NFL is like you look at the contact. I suppose the offensive line and defensive line make contact with each other, but it's quite different in the type of contact that they're making from rugby.
Oh, it's different. Yeah, it's different style, but again, it's about wear and tear on the body. What should you be asking players to do, and keep and injury control, and it's about conditioning and things rather than, yes, it's a different style, absolutely, but the principles around S&C training or strength and conditioning training and that kind of thing is pretty pretty good. Apparently Sam Whitelock's been told not to play this weekend by the All Blacks coaches. Wow. I'd have thought they'd be wanting to get him back into contact training and into games, but maybe he hasn't had enough contact.
Depends, right? Is he going to end up going on the end of year tour? It doesn't seem like he is now.
Really?
Well, he's not. He didn't go to Oz because of the 2 weeks of quarantining there. I suppose. Yes, I don't know. But he's still going to the end of the year.
Flying into the UK and flying into the USA, I don't think they bother with quarantining anymore.
No.
They just decided to live with it. So I don't think there's any problems there.
Yeah, because I mean, Aaron Smith isn't going, right? So he's not going to the end of year tour now at all.
But that's because his wife is due in November.
Righty. Okay.
So Sam Whitelock's already had his baby, or his wife's already, or partner has already had their baby. Obviously, yeah, Sam Whitelock didn't have it. He was there supporting, holding her hand and telling her to breathe and all that kind of stuff.
So he was taking paternity leave, not maternity leave. Yeah, he's got to get that right too.
So he will be available. So I think he's available for the end of the year tour. But Aaron Smith, unless his unless his baby arrives early, won't be. The reason he's not in Australia is basically he couldn't get back into New Zealand for the birth if you went for this part of the tour. So hence that's why he's missed this part of it. So that's why Aaron Smith isn't available for the end of year piece on that one. We'll have a quick look at LB's comments from earlier. So he mentions there that over there in South Africa, they think they played well in the first test against Australia. We should have won comfortably. I think you should have won, but maybe not comfortably if you'd made your kicks. The second test, poorly and lost. Yep, that's very true. And they just... I
don't know. I mean, like, Pollard missed a few kicks in that first test, but you also got to say that the Wallabies actually butchered a few try-scoring opportunities in the first test as well. So, it was just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I subscribe to the fact that the South Africans should have won the first test.
Oh, it's one of the things I said after that test. I thought they should have won, having left 10 points out there with missed kicks. They should have. Those were butchered tries, and converting them is a bit harder than actually kicking between two posts, which at this level they should be able. Pollard should have been able to do. They don't care about the tournament. Yeah, well, let's be honest, the tournament's gone in all reality. It's just now about basically fronting up against the All Blacks, obviously, for these next 2 games, or particularly this one first. On that one. So yes, absolutely agreed. Don't forget, folks, we will be live straight after the final whistle of the All Blacks versus the Springboks with post-match reaction. So do join us for that, either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and we'll put the recording out on our podcast as well if you can't join us. Other news today: the Fijian Drua have gone and announced their head coach. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did. I did see that. Interesting option, I thought. In saying that, it depends how he gets used. So we're going to say who it is. It's Mick Byrne, ex-All Blacks kicking coach, who's actually...
Who, sorry?
Mick Byrne, ex-All Blacks kicking coach.
Yeah, okay, but you say it Byrne, you? Okay, right.
Well, how do you say it?
I don't know. You never hear him. You never hear his surname being pronounced.
Oh, well, since he was the ex-All Blacks kicking coach, I mean, that's where I heard it from.
Because he's always called Mick the Kick, isn't he? So I already call him Mick Bryan, but yeah, you're quite right. The Y does come before the R. So I would have got it wrong, but that's just me being dyslexic. Anyway, go on.
But
sorry.
But I was going to say, look, and before that, he was AFL coach. So, and as I think you alluded to, Paul, in our chat group, don't think he's been a head coach. And I suppose he spent a lot of time in rugby now, but he's never played the game, and he's not really come from the junior ranks, but he's spent time with probably arguably a very successful All Black squad. Well, not even arguably, really, it was a very successful All Black squad while he was there, so he would have picked up a lot in terms of coaching a rugby team. I'm just wondering the dynamics and how that'll work with the Fiji team. My gut feel, and it's absolutely just a gut feel, don't know where I get it from, but is the fact is that he'll probably, my view is that he'll be almost like a manager at the top with coaches with some sort of Fijian connection, for want of a term, also filling some slots in there below him, because you've got to, you look at any Pacific Islands team, and I think what we've learned from over the years is that you got to have somebody at that level in the management group that has an affinity with the Pacific Island people.
True, but then
otherwise you do struggle.
But you think about the on the Sevens side of things, and I've gone blank as the English coach who was head coach of look, I mean he sorry,
Fiji.
Yeah, for Ben Ryan, who was head coach of Fijian Sevens, and look, he got in touch with the culture fine, and so yeah, you don't necessarily have to have a Fijian per se in there, but you do have to have someone who moves to Fiji and learns, you say, immerses themselves in the culture. Looking at Mick Bryan's LinkedIn profile, he has been the forwards coach and skills coach, so basically assistant coach of Japan. Has been a high performance coach at High Performance Skills Coaching Limited, whoever that is. Was the forwards coach for Auckland Blues for a while. So again, another assistance coach role. Skills coach for the All Blacks, skills coach for the Wallabies, and then for the since January 2020, a national coaching director at Sports Tech Academies. So yeah, as far as I can tell, I say I don't think he's had any head coaching experience. I think Ben Ryan actually would have been a fantastic one. Now I hadn't really thought about that until we've talked about it as the Fijian Drua head coach. I know he wants to get into 15s coaching, so and he's got fantastic mana within Fiji. So I think he would have been a brilliant one. But yeah, he kind of fell out with the Fijian rugby union, didn't he?
I thought Ben Ryan had a bit of a falling out with the Fijian government. There was something that happened there.
Yeah, I think he had a falling out with the union. So that's probably why the union at the moment are effectively running Fijian Drua, even though it is going to be a separate entity eventually. And it is a separate entity legally, but at the moment, while it all gets set up, they are fully controlling it, as far as I can tell.
And I think the government also has a bit of a connection there too, in terms
what you mean, like the Prime Minister is the head of Fiji Rugby,
something like that.
Absolutely. I look listening to the when I listened to the hour-long press release or media conference they did, and where yes, thanking the president and for helping with all this. You think, what has the president of Fiji, the Prime Minister of Fiji, done around this? Seriously, just tick that box and know which side your butter's bread. I think was what was going on there.
Like Commodore Frank, the real coach.
Look, it's a very interesting one because look, Mick the Kick is known as being a very technical coach, right? A skills coach. We generally think that on the whole, handling skills and stuff for Fijians are not a problem. That's not where your issues are, right?
That's what I'm sort of thinking. When you're getting down to detail level, I don't know. I mean, like again, it just doesn't seem a fit for a Fijian group. We're really trying to do is actually what you're trying to do is to get them any Fijian group. You want them to express themselves out there and not play within themselves. What they have to learn is to express themselves and play, but then also how do they execute and minimize bad decision making or errors and that sort of thing. So, but the reality is you just don't want to suppress them because it's like anybody in any position in any job. If you suppress what you are trying to do and achieve, you'll end up doing a crap job at it. And we've seen that with numerous sports teams when they've been told to play a way that it's not really accustomed to, or to do something that isn't really them, and then they struggle to do their core jobs.
So it's an interesting one there, folks, and we'll see how if he can find ways to motivate the players or not there with that one. So it's interesting one. I think Ben Ryan would have been a fantastic one. As we say, he fell out with the people who were making the decisions and burnt a few bridges. So there's no chance he was going to be getting that one.
Boys, we win today, and I've got some top quality, top shelf carver to come out.
Let's just a quick look forward then at the games this weekend. In the NPC, we've got 5 games this weekend. Tasman versus Waikato this evening at 7:00. I'm going Tasman by 5. Then Manawatu, Northland, Manawatu going well this season, so I've gone them by 10. Southland Canterbury without Sam Whitelock. I expect South Canterbury to get comfortable win over Southland, really. Obviously, remember, Aaron Smith is playing for Manawatu as well tomorrow.
Hang on. Comfortable win, Canterbury over Southland, and you only put them by 7.
Okay, perhaps I should have
gone. Is that a comfortable win these days?
I should have gone more than by 7 then. Wellington Hawke's Bay, I think, is a real interesting one. Hawke's Bay have been playing better than Wellington, but will they have a what do you call it? A Ranfurly Shield hangover? Teams that have the Ranfurly Shield generally play really well at home and appalling away. So Hawke's Bay should win it, but I'm not sure. But that's one I'm really not really sure on. And then I think Bop will beat Taranaki on Sunday, and I'll be at that game at Tauranga Domain.
One of the 100 people.
One of the 100 people. Yep, exactly. Any of the because I'm media. Any of those that you disagree with?
Well, I'm just sort of look. I mean, it's I suppose if you're going to put $2 on it, you're going to pick Bay of Plenty over Taranaki. But I wouldn't be surprised if Taranaki. I keep saying Taranaki get over Bay of Plenty. Same reason that you had for Hawke's Bay. Obviously, with Hawke's Bay, the hangover of the game previous week, as well as playing away. But Bay of Plenty again, the Ranfurly Shield hangover. A lot of teams put so much effort into their Ranfurly Shield match that the following week they really have a big downer. It is a consistent thing that happens all the time. And when you look at how tight that game was, and really a ding-dong battle, went into extra time, wouldn't be surprised if Bay of Plenty dropped their bundle just for 1 week. I mean, as I said, that's a pretty stacked team. So, just for 1 week they dropped their bundle against Taranaki, and But as you say, if you're putting your $2 on it or your $1 on it, I suppose you would go Bay of Plenty.
Yeah, also the Naki have won three out of 3 games this season. So really, even though they've lost players like Sean Wainui, really are stepping up. And I think the new coach there, head coach White, we used to be a coach with the Chiefs.
Oh, right.
But assistant coach assistant coach with Neil White. That's it. He's doing a real good job down there at the Naki.
Actually, I mean, and to be fair, just on that, I mean, Taranaki again, but I mean, like, they'd played very well to beat that Wellington side last week. That Wellington side, maybe a little bit light in the forwards, but geez, no way light in the backs. That back's a star-studded back line. And, Taranaki did the job on them.
Yep. We've also got the United Rugby Championship coming up. There's my predictions there. Look, at the end of the day, a whole bunch of guesswork in the United Rugby Championship early doors. Let's be honest. How will players like the teams like the Emirates Lions travel across to Europe, where they're facing Zebre, for example? You've got teams. Obviously, the South African players are still all with the Springboks as well. So a whole bunch of their top players are also missing, whereas all the European sides will have all their players available. Except some of the Lions players might still be on their off season because that runs later, obviously. But yeah, I'll post all these screenshots up on Twitter as well if you want to see my predictions. But I say URC, a bit of guesswork around some of these ones, to be honest with you. But Zebre and Benetton had real poor seasons last year, which is why I've gone with the Lions and the Stormers in those two games. The Stormers, well, they were being threatened to be kicked out of this tournament and replaced by the Cheetahs a couple of weeks ago. So you've got to wonder what their headspace is like at the moment.
Classic South African politics carrying on there. But I'll add my 2 cents to this so that it looks like I'm knowledgeable. Good luck in trying to find somewhere to watch these games.
Well, they're all on Spark Sport if you're in New Zealand.
All of them on Spark Sport. I didn't realise all of them were on Spark Sport.
Sorry, no, you're quite right. Selected ones are on Spark Sport, but Spark Sport has bought the rights to this one. It's not on Sky, folks, these games.
But only selected games, right? So it depends on who's the broadcaster, I'm guessing, at the other end, possibly.
Yep, I think there's an element of that. The interesting that Rock Nation is promoting this tournament, which is Jay-Z's vehicle. So we'll really see how that all goes. You're looking a bit confused, Ashwin, on that one.
So Jay-Z and Beyonce going to sit on the couch at home watch these games this weekend?
I'm not sure he's personally going to watch the game, but his company, his company is basically, because obviously people like Sia Khaleesi, for example, are now managed by Rock Nation as their player agents, and they're also partnering up with the URC to promote the whole of that tournament. So it's going to be interesting to see what innovations they bring to it and how they approach it differently to your standard rugby marketing companies. Because let's be honest, Ashwin, one of our complaints around rugby is that it's marketed really poorly.
So obviously Rock Nation, nothing to do with The Rock and listening to our DJs in New Zealand radio.
No. And I thought you were going with Dwayne Johnson there as The Rock, as in smell what The Rock is cooking.
Yeah.
No. Nothing to do with The Rock radio station. The Gallagher Premiership is underway as well. They're extra. I'm expecting them to bounce back from their loss last weekend in that one. And other ones in there, it could be a bad start for Bristol, losing to Saracens last weekend. I think they've got a good chance of losing to Wasps this weekend as well. So, a bit of a tough one there for Bristol. But Quins with Worcester, I think the champions should be off to a really good start with 2 big wins in their first 2 weeks there. Do you want to try and fake some knowledge in this area, Marston?
I was just going to say, look, Bristol, all I can talk to is Bristol, and it's like they would have been immensely disappointed in going down to Saracens last week. And so, and then as I say, coming up against Wasps this week, no easy job there away as well. So, I mean, obviously I like following a bit of the Bristol and what's happening there because there's quite a few Blues players in that squad. So, but not looking too good for them this weekend.
Yeah, and just after their coach just signed a 5-year contract as well. Onto the Rugby Championship, I've gone with the obvious choices here. New Zealand by a couple of scores over the box.
Pushing the boat out there, mate.
Pushing the boat out, really being risky there, taking a hot take. And then Australia, I expect them to get up over Argentina. Look, Argentina really have been targeting this game. Bella has really been talking up in our chat as to how the Pumas are the banana skin for Australia. But look, Australia are on a roll now, and I think they should win that game there as well. Obviously, post-match reaction straight after that game at midnight tomorrow as well from us. I'll probably be on my own for that one. I can't imagine anyone else staying up to midnight to do post-match reaction on that one.
I was just going to say is like look, the very 2013 New Zealand South Africa. South Africa has to beat New Zealand, get a bonus point, deny New Zealand a bonus point, and win 2 games with them by a margin of 90.
I think that's probably off the table, and just putting up, just beating the All Blacks, I think is all they're looking for. I think the Rugby Championship is gone from that point of view.
Look on that game. Obviously the All Blacks are highly favoured to win it, but what it's going to come down to is that South Africa are going to come out. They always do it in every Springboks or All Blacks game. The South Africans always come out really hard and fast. It always comes down to, can they maintain that for 80 minutes? Because if they only go for 30 minutes, we know what the result's going to be. But if they can go for 80 minutes, they're a chance. Look, we've always said amongst all these top teams is the fact is that if the favoured team doesn't turn up on the day, doesn't play their best rugby, the other team can tip them over, and this game's no different. You got the All Blacks that are highly favoured, but if they don't turn up and South Africa does and plays brilliantly for 80 minutes, there's a chance that they can tip the All Blacks over. But they're going to have to do it for 80 minutes, and nothing less than 80 minutes will do, because otherwise the All Blacks will come home with a wet sail and go over the top of them.
You're probably right on that one. And then finally, the top 14. On the whole, folks, the top 14 is very easy to do picks. Pick the home team, because a lot of times, a lot of teams do basically rest players for away games. They've got so many games in that league that they have to. The only one I've picked, one I've gone with here is Castres against Stade Francais, because Stade have lost all their games already this season. They look to be a bit of a mess already. We're already 4 rounds into this tournament. When you think that the URC is just kicking off, and it's still the middle of winter for us, but there we go. So, yep.
So basically, what you're saying is Stade Francais hasn't bought enough Kiwis this year.
I don't know who they've actually bought this year, but yeah, they're just a bit of a mess, and they've been flirting with relegation over the last couple of years as well. So yeah, it's a side that whereas Cast, really solid mid-table kind of team, not setting the world alight like your Racings or your Toulouse, all those ones. I think the surprise is probably Perpignan, who have been promoted. I've gone with them over Toulon. Toulon really just are one of the most atypical French teams. In fact, they never lose at home and extremely rarely win away. So that's why I've gone with Perpignan in that one by just 3. But Toulon, one of those kind of teams. And finally, we just point out actually that yes, the Edmonton in Canada has got the HSBC World Series 7s going on this weekend, minus Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. So
ridiculous.
Well, those 3 teams were invited to turn up. They decided not to.
Oh no! It's not. Yeah, no, it's that. Yeah, I mean, like as I put in our chat groups, it's like, well, I think it was on Twitter, wasn't I? Put it
on Twitter. Yes.
Twitter is the fact is that you're sending the All Blacks to America and Europe, but you can't send the 7s to Canada. That's a real head scratcher. Real head scratcher for me. Doesn't make any sense at all.
So, and then, well, I understand why Fiji haven't gone. They went on a 1-week training camp, and it turned into 3 months isolation from their families. So they're like, I think their players are like, bugger that. We're not leaving the country again in case we never get back in or we never see our families again. So I understand why Fiji have decided to pull out.
Families overrated.
Families overrated. So someone who's been locked up.
He can keep his chicken.
What is electric chicken? I'm sorry.
I don't know. I can understand Steve's fish and chips.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we were talking about, look, the big thing in New Zealand at the moment is takeaways for boys and girls, because you know what, Auckland has just been put down to down to level 3 for a couple of days, which basically the difference between level 4 and level 3 is you're allowed takeaways. That's otherwise
not if you go on the Auckland roads.
Well, okay, and essential workers go to work.
Yeah, essential workers go to work.
You can't work from home. Anyway,
actually, to clear that up, so we don't see spreading misinformation. Actually, at level 3, the technical rule is that you are to work from home if you can. If you can't work from home, you can go to your place of work. So, yeah. So we better not spread misinformation.
But the big difference is you're allowed takeaways anyway. So takeaways have been the conversation on all radio shows all week. So Stephen's gone for fish and chips now, Aaron's got who's gone for electric chicken. So good luck with that one, mate. Don't kill yourself by electrocuting yourself.
Yeah. And I've come on the show, so my spag bowl's got cold downstairs.
So I have been warned, Con's coming in from the long run up here after a number of beers, listening to a couple of All Blacks on a Zoom call. So what are they? I don't know. Brian Habana, okay, tell us what, because obviously Springbok there. What has Brian Habana said about this weekend?
Oh, he's picking they're actually still on. They're going very late, but Brian's picking the Springboks to win, as you'd expect, and Dan's picking. Dan's kind of siding with his mate. He's saying that the New Zealand public and the news are overplaying the New Zealand position, and that the Springboks are very well in for a shot. But I think secretly he's actually picking the All Blacks to win, which is the right call. It's the right call, but it's been really good. It's been
for those of you who were just wondering who Dan is. That'll be Dan Carter.
Oh, sorry, yeah, my mate Dan Carter.
DC.
Yeah, no, it's been it was really interesting. Look, this was an IT thing. Dan Carter and Brian Habana doing a Fortinet. So Fortinet, as you've seen, is the main sponsor of Rugby Championship for New Zealand, and so they're an IT company, and I work for an IT company, and so got invited to this thing, which is just a spectator, but really cool, set of questions there. So Dan picked 30-18 to the All Blacks, and Brian picked 22-18 to the Springboks. So there you go. Interesting.
There we go. So LB, Habana, the legend. Oh, he absolutely is. But boxed by 20. Wow, you're going even bigger than Habana.
No, well, LB's got inflation going because he had a smaller margin earlier in the show. He's increased his margin's gone up.
As we get closer.
No, he went boxed by 20. Got to back the boys.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry, LB. I thought you had a
fake news.
I thought you had 12.
Oh dear. So, Con, obviously you said yesterday you wanted to come on and get predictions. And I just realised I've just taken my predictions down.
I saw them.
You saw them.
NZ by 10 was it, or was it NZ by 5 or NZ by 10?
So NZ by 10, Australia by 5. So there you go.
Yeah. Look, as a loyal NZ Sport Radio listener, I was keeping an eye on it while I was watching Brian Habana and Dan Carter, and I saw your predictions there. But that's pretty good. That's I think that. So is that your prediction, Paul? Is it yours also, Ashman?
That's my personal prediction. Yes, because I am the voice and face of New Zealand Sport Radio. And they're all my lackeys.
Yeah, everyone has to get mine. It's NZ Sport Radio's prediction.
I'm too scared to give a prediction because I don't want to jinx it. Okay, I'm gonna honestly, what I'm thinking is by 20.
Wow.
Oh, you've been
because look, because of since reintroduction. If you go back to, I think it was 91 or 92 when we first started playing the Springboks again, and we had that first game over there. If you go back to then, Springboks generally come fast out of the gate. They're always amped up. I think I've forgotten the term. There's this term that they use, this state of fervour that they get into before a game. They come out hard, and if the All Blacks
Berserkers.
can absorb that, the berserkers, if they can absorb that, and then basically the Springboks start to taper off, it's going to be it could get messy. I won't say
Like
ugly. I don't
2019
think
World Cup.
29.
I
So
think in the 2019 World Cup entry, they came out and were really taking it to us for the first 20, and then it got turned around pretty quick.
then got turned around, and you never, even if you that game, we actually, I think we only lost. We only won by about 3. We won by 3 points.
10 points against
10 points, but it never felt like we were going to lose it, did it? I mean, like we just kept them pinned down in the 22, and basically that was it. It was a World Cup. All they did, the Springboks were never going to run it out from the 22 and score a length of the field try.
Yeah. Well,
They had to
particularly
get
didn't feel
Jamie
like
to do it.
we were gonna lose it after we scored 2 tries in about 3 minutes. that certainly helped. But I did think, I remember that in that game, the first 20 minutes were pretty tense. Like they were very aggressive. Their D was really good, and they were all over us. But yeah, and Paul, you think it's going to be a bit closer?
Look, I'm notoriously conservative on my picks, and very. I went the Canterbury comfortable over Southland by 7. So and that was so yeah. Well, I should have probably gone by about 14, to be honest. So yeah, I am. I'm notoriously conservative with these things. But yeah, I think a couple of scores will be and held at arm's length. LB says it's okay. We peak when it counts. Well, we will see, LB. It's good. It's good to have. Look, at the end of the day, it's good to be supporting your boys, and I think that's great to see. To back them and not to be getting on their case when they're in a little bit of a poor run. Let's be honest, over the last couple of games. So great to see you backing the boys, and we like to see that kind of thing and that positivity here on
Hey, look,
New Zealand Sport Radio.
Con, if we do get tipped up on Saturday night, how do you feel about that?
Not good, Ashwin. Not good. Now,
Yeah?
let me explain. I think I might have said this before, and you shouldn't go on Twitter. Just for any listeners, just don't go on Twitter. It's not a good place. It's bad. But so I would have. Like when New Zealand lost the 2019 World Cup in the semi-final, I actually said to my brother, we'd been out having beers, and I said, look, this is good for us because adversity, a climb is actually a good thing. I said, look, tomorrow we'll actually think, oh shit, this is going to make the next 4 years actually really interesting. Because to be fair, it can get a little bit dull when you're on top. I'm sure LB's not going to love hearing that, but that's just how it is. Now. And then this what happened is exactly what I'd said earlier this year. Springboks beat the Lions, and it kind of seemed like shit. The All Blacks aren't the ruling the roost anymore. And I was still thinking Springboks are going to come in, nail the Australian teams. We were going to beat the Argentinian teams, and then I still thought, as a one-eyed, overconfident New Zealand supporter, that New Zealand was going to do the deed. What's happened is everyone's kind of with the losses, everyone is a little bit overconfident with the All Blacks. But the reason why I don't want to lose,
surely you can't read that into Laurie's comments from about a week ago.
That's right. Oh no, Laurie. I think there was another NZ, a couple more stuff in NZ articles. What was it? Who said that the Springboks were what was it? Under this, under that. I can't remember what it was, but it was quite an interesting article.
Clickbait.
It was clickbait, yeah. But I tell you what, if you spend any time on social, and this is me, I shouldn't be on there, but if you spend much time on social media, and I can't help it. It's a drug. It's a drug.
Cocaine.
And you get that the supporters of South Africa are pretty tough to tolerate. No offense, LB or John, but the relentless. I guess gloating will take a toll. You still see, I'm not sure if you ever see it in, I'm not sure if you guys have a look at South Africa Rugby Mag. It's a pretty good sporting publication. What I mean by that is it's got a lot of content, which we don't have down here, except for NZ Sport Radio, of course. But their supporters, just anytime an English supporter comes on, they just write 32 32-12 or whatever the scoreline of the final of the World Cup was. Just that's all they say, 32-12. 32-12. And so I'm not looking forward to 27-25 next week, 27-25 if the Springboks win. But look, you're right. I think I would be fine if the All Blacks, I'll be quite happy if the All Blacks win this one, lose the next one. I don't really want the All Blacks to drop 2. There's no, I don't know what you're talking about, LB. All Black supporters are nothing but respectful 100%. So
for those of you who are listening to the podcast, LB, so I guess you haven't tried to tolerate All Black supporters. Look, at the end of the day, and he says they're almost as bad as UK ones. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we have to tolerate Paul. It's so hard.
At the end of the day, every single group of supporters have got their idiots in there, and they are the loudest people on social media. At the end of the day, the vast majority of rugby fans are respectful and good to have a chat with. Unfortunately, the loud prats on social media, the ones that get all the reactions, are the idiots. And I say we've all got them.
Because the ones that want to have an amicable chat and a bit of banter and a bit of ribbing, but nothing over the top. Once they start to get the crap start, like what Con's referring to, you just leave. And so all you're left with in those environments is dumbasses.
I think it's the look. I don't want to make a final point over it. I actually think when we lose against Australia, I'm actually kind of happy for them in a way. Like last year, it's actually kind of pleased for them, and even Argentina. I had
good on you, Australia.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, because
condescending bastard.
How it's more of it's a representation of actually how good they are. And same with Argentina. But I think, I must admit I've been, and this is going to sound ridiculous. I kind of got slightly agitated beyond what I normally would by the media in some countries during the Lions tour that I started to, because I would have always said I will never support the British and Irish Lions. Not that I have anything against them, but I always support the Southern Hemisphere team. But I found myself at kickoff of the first game, because of some of the media over there, I started going, you know what, I want the Lions to win. And it's probably made me a little bit sensitive to this. But ultimately, South African fans are, the ones that I interact with, because there's a lot of South Africans in New Zealand. Any South African listeners over here, they're everywhere. And they're all awesome guys, love rugby, love the All Blacks, and love the rivalry. I think that's the only part, though, Ashwin, to answer your question. The only part is there's a little bit of, I usually don't mind losing because I think the All Blacks losing is actually good for world rugby sometimes.
Sometimes.
But, sometimes, yeah. But that's the only part that I would look forward to, kind of restoration of us being on an even keel.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this weekend is the most important game for the All Blacks this year. Right?
Absolutely.
The 100th game against the All Blacks. By far, this is the most important game. Losing to Australia, okay, wouldn't have been great. Losing to the Springboks in the 100th game, that matters. To me, this has been their main target. Sure, they're playing France later. Sure, they've got the 101st game next week against the Springboks. But being the 100th game, this is the one that matters.
Yeah. Let's not forget the game against the US.
Yeah, that's right. Italy, isn't there a game against Italy? Yeah. But I missed the earlier. Are you guys pumped for this game, or is it just me?
Oh no! I mean, I have to be with all the COVID thing, and then obviously it's a little bit different, I suppose, for different areas of New Zealand as well. It's just like everything to me personally is just everything's just gone a bit weird, and I haven't had the enjoyment out of watching rugby that I have like in the last sort of 12 months, sort of thing. Let's say it really has. It's like I got season tickets to Eden Park, and I'd still trudge along to Eden Park to watch, and the Blues were doing well, and we won a tournament even. And it's just like, but still, that wasn't. But it's slowly coming back with the way that just some of the interest around the Wallaby Springboks games, and now just coming back into this. So it's starting to build again because I really want to get back excited about rugby like I used to be. So and obviously with the lack of sport, you're definitely looking forward to 7 o'clock on Saturday. Yeah. Well, 7 o'clock New Zealand time, that is, for anybody listening from overseas.
Now, and For me, it's I'm more excited about getting back to games. So, and I know I'm lucky. I am one of the 100 that's allowed in per game. So the fact that I got to go to FMG Stadium for Waikato versus Wellington, that I got to go to the Farah Palmer Cup last weekend. I'm going with the Bay of Plenty versus Otago this weekend. I'm more excited about Bay of Plenty versus Wellington and Bay of Plenty versus Taranaki, the Farah Palmer Cup and the Taranaki and the NPC games than I am about the All Blacks game, because I'm going to be there at the game. And it's, I'm lucky. I know that a lot of people, most people can't. So that to me is why I'm more. So us talking about it gets me hyped for the All Black Springboks game, but I'm much more interested actually in the games I can get to, because we were denied them.
I really want to see some of our, just like watching a Will Jordan do something miraculous. I really want to see something like that, and like what we've seen him from Super Rugby and that, like Rico busting the line in the last couple of weeks, a continuation of that. That's the sort of things that I'm looking forward to. I'm a bit disappointed that Ethan Blackadder's not that Jacobson starting. I would have had them the other way around, starting with Blackadder and Jacobson on the bench. I just thought the way that Blackadder played, and if they're happy to put Artie on the side with Dalton injured, it's just like, why wouldn't you do the mix with Blackadder, Akira, and Artie? It would have been the go. But in saying that, you'll still see him coming off the bench, and there's just, if Akira can what he did in those games against Australia, you want to see him progress and do that against a very strong defensive side like Australia, Springboks, or something that's going to be in, especially early doors, going to be like that. So there's a lot of things to look forward to in the game for sure.
And Con, you take this one as something you'll never hear again from Ashwin, being an ardent Auckland and Blues supporter, talking about wanting to see a Canterbury and Crusaders player.
That's
wow.
No, Paul. Paul, and it's unfortunate Steve's not here. As an Aucklander, I mean, we never do that when you're playing players in the All Black teams. If you got players in the All Black teams, if it's a 50-50 call, obviously you're going to back an Auckland player. But when you see somebody that performs and brings excitement to it, look, okay, we bagged George Bridge, and I still bag George Bridge. I don't know what he's doing there. I'd have Sevu Reece, another Crusaders player there anyway. But anyway,
yeah, I'm a fan of Sevu, to be fair. Yeah,
I would rather have Sevu Reece there than George Bridge. I understand it's the bomb squad, but I've seen Sevu Reece under a high ball. Seems okay to me.
He is pretty good at the high ball. Agreed.
So yes. Anyway, so folks, look, we've let's wrap this up. We normally try and keep these to half an hour, and obviously we've been having fun, folks. Enjoy.
Mate, my spag bowl's frozen.
And his spag bowl, his spag bowl's gone cold. He needs to put that in the micro oven to get it warm again. But thank you everyone who's joined us in the live chat. Look, enjoy your rugby this weekend. There'll be no lockdown beers and rugby chat on Saturday and Sunday, because I'll be at rugby games and driving around. But we'll be back Monday at 5 p.m. So to help you wind down after your day working from 9 till 5, and to try and get those of you working at home off stay on your computers, but get off the work bit and get onto the social bit and join us for that. Thank you, Con. Thank you, Ashwin. Have a great weekend.